Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Chris O Show. Every week on Thursdays, we put out a new episode. We record a few days in advance, sometimes a week in advance. It depends on what we're doing. But, anyways, you can follow us on all our channels. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on YouTube, and we hit up all our socials with some clips to get you enticed into joining the full show. Today, amazing guest, gentleman I've known for a very long time, Mr. John Cowan. And we're going to discuss coaching, which is something that both of us have done over the years. John has done it a lot more than me in a lot different levels. And so, welcome, John.
Thank you, Chris. It's great to be on the show with you.
And so, John, tell us a little bit. Okay, so right now you're working with the national and provincial coaching associations.
Yeah. One of the things that I've been doing, I've been doing since 2000 has been teaching the Coaching Association of Canada coaching courses. And so, one of the big things for us is to ensure that we are providing the education pieces that are required. It's for volunteer coaches to go out and work in their community and provide programming. And so, one of the things that is quite common amongst one sport to the next sport is similarities, like how to set up a season plan, how to set up a year plan, how to set up, dealing with nutrition for your athletes,
Yes.
um, coaching athletes with a disability, regardless of, the other piece is what is sport and what
Yeah.
is the role of sport. And so, regardless of what sport you're doing, we all are coming in with the same opportunities and trying to bring opportunities to our youth and our community and of all ages, not just youth.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I know because I mean, having taken coaching courses, I mean, obviously soccer specific a lot of the time, but then there's the crossover coach, the coach, sports stuff like, the stuff about concussions, uh,
Yes.
stuff about, like you said, managing individuals, right? And so that transcends all sport is dealing with different personalities, how we relate to our players. Are we growing athletes or are we growing into people to be good people? Like, what are we doing? And all those things transcend sports. So that's some of the stuff you work
Yeah,
on in your lessons.
absolutely. That's exactly what I do. And it's a great way of stating there, Chris, is that it's about growing people.
Yeah.
It's making communities stronger. It's making communities healthy and ensuring that opportunities are there for our communities and to ensure that things like safe sport, things like
Yes.
concussion management stuff, and we need to ensure that the participants are safe, and we want to make sure that people have a good time in the sport.
Nice. Now, here's a good question. I know there's some stuff coming up, events we'll talk about after, but one of the things is how do you and your colleagues come up with some of these lessons? Like what's the process in determining what to teach and what's important?
A really good question there, because the coaching national coaching certification program is done by researchers at universities across Canada, and it includes the best of the best in Canada, working on developing curriculum as for elite level
Mhm.
athletes right down to the grassroots. And
Yes.
so it's about building habits. It's about understanding how to become the best that we can be and how to uh, with the ideas of goal setting and everything from sleep, from nutrition to biomechanics, and just recovery,
Yeah.
and setting up you know p- daily goals, that type of stuff.
Yes.
Okay, I need to go out and do a bit of running today or whatever. So
Yeah.
it's those type of things. It's helping to build habits for lifelong type of things.
Yes.
And so whether you're still competing later on in life, you've already developed a lot of these habits. And so the Coaching Association of Canada is comprised of the 10 provinces and three territories.
Yeah.
And what it does is it actually has representatives from each of the provincial and territory governments that sit on a committee. And then there's the working group that is the experts, and
Yes.
they come in and they talk about how to build. And I should also mention the Aboriginal Sports Circle it's a very big part of it as well. And they all sit together and they
Yep.
discuss how do we build this program? And they go, okay, this is a good direction we need to go. And they
Yep.
basically give the Coaching Association of Canada also sits on this committee along with the Minister of Sport. And once they've all heard the new direction, they give it a stamp of approval and then it's
Nice.
sent out to get published. And then from that, so that goes from the Coaching Association of Canada, and then it goes to the provincial delivery or territorial delivery programs,
Yes.
which is in our case in Ontario, it's the Coaching Association of Ontario. And
Yes.
so they will then um, disperse any sort of updated information to different provincial sports groups. So it comes down through two prongs. One is
Yep.
either through the national sport organizations, so Soccer Canada or
Yep.
Nordic Canada or whatever, right? It all
Yes.
comes down to that provincial level, and then the provincial sport organizations are then dispersing this information further out to the clubs.
To everybody else.
You
Yeah.
got it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love the way it's actually it's put together quite well. I mean, I haven't done it in the last it was 2 years ago when I last did my update, right?
Yep.
I'm not coaching anymore, so I,
Yep.
I won't be updating anymore at this point. But
Right.
you had to update every couple years a lot of these
Yes.
courses because new information came into play and whatnot. And when from when I started, Rowan's Law came into play, like
Yes.
in the middle of my coaching,
Yes.
years. And so, with and that we won't go into is basically a concussion thing to protect kids. At the basic level. But one of the things I love the way it's delivered online and you watch these videos and you can
Yep.
go back and confirm things. Now, that obviously was a bit newer. Now, how did that kind of
Evolve.
in the same way, or did you guys say, was there something specific you were looking for there?
So to go back even further, I mean, in the yesteryears of when I first started teaching the coaching courses back in 2000, it was all
Yes,
everything was in person, like the level one,
yes,
level two, and level three, and it
yeah,
was really like we would spend a full weekend on the theory component of coaching, and
yes.
in that course, we would have the ma and pa coaches coming out, and then you'd also have the universe coach coming out for a level one course, and you'd also have, a provincial level coach coming in to get their level one so they can move up to the level two programming. And so, it was kind of a mishmash. And then we changed over to this thing called the competency-based education training program, which is today.
Yes,
And
yes.
so that's where we have the three streams that are specifically towards the needs of the coach of that group. So we have the community coach stream, we have the competition, and then we also have the instruction stream.
Okay.
And so it really helped to, separate the groups so that we weren't overwhelming that mom and pop coach with a bunch of information that was really more so relevant to that
Yes,
high-end coach. But
yes,
the other piece to it, in which I was involved with, was the remote delivery in the beginning days, and that
yep.
was really about using the video conferencing. And
Oh
so
yeah, yeah,
I'd
yeah.
be doing a coaching course on a weekend, and I'd have a person way up in Dryden. I'd have another person in Owen Sound or in Tobermore, another one down in Essex or Kingsville or whatever,
Nice.
And it was just like so many different locations. But one of the big things was a lot of the video signal stuff could, depending on storms and whatever else.
Yes.
And it got also expensive because it was a true on video, you're sitting in front of a TV camera.
Yeah.
It got it quite expensive. And thankfully, the Ontario government was funding a lot of that through Connect North, I think it was called at the time.
Yeah.
And then, as you said, Chris, we went into the online. And I think, certainly the COVID really, that whole process of, okay, we need to keep uh, the information flowing, and
Yes.
and it became very clear that we had a lot of courses being delivered
Yeah.
virtually, and so it's now become basically you can do any sort of training anywhere in the world,
Yep.
and you can have access, as you mentioned, videos that are online
Yep.
or uh, short questions and
Yep.
surveys and stuff like that. So it is all adult principled learning. And a
Yep.
lot of the times it's not like at the end you have to sit down and write an exam.
No.
It's the interaction with the program
Yep.
and learning and taking some new ideas and bringing it to your own personal coaching toolkit.
Yeah, exactly. Hi, everyone. Quick break in the action. Right now is where one of you should be putting your sponsorship and putting your products or your services on display to all our listeners, all our watchers, all our followers, everybody, right here, right now. So reach out and we'll hook you up. We'll get you into the next podcast and we'll spread your word for you. Take care. Ciao
Toolkit.
for now. Yeah, exactly. And I actually quite enjoyed it doing it, especially the last couple of times.
Yeah,
The one thing I always found I was laugh with people with, and then I said, well, maybe people don't know this is some of the more ones about integrity and making good common sense decisions,
yeah,
um, especially in regards to being alone with athletes and all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, you shouldn't be like,
yeah.
but we were trained so long ago that yeah, you always have a couple parents around, you always have
That's right.
an assistant coach, a team manager,
Rule of
whatever.
two. Yeah, yeah,
We just with the rule of two was kind of a common sense thing, and
yeah,
then it became the rule of two
yeah,
officially,
yeah,
right? And teaching all that, and then just some other things about there was like the criminal questions and this
yeah,
and that, and
yeah.
I'm like, I'm taking it, and then you see like the different ways and different steps that they give you, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there is other options that seem like they could be the right option, even though no, this is the super right option, right? So. And I love
Yeah,
how that gets put together. And I think it's really important that coaches go through that to kind
yeah.
of open their minds that there are other situations.
Yes, absolutely. And it's um, the educational process is not a one stop.
No,
It's a long going and it's like
100%.
and so that brings me to another point there is that in order in the yesteryears of the old level 1, 2, 3 program, it was you
Yes.
took the course and you were done. You were
Yes.
basically certified for life. Now what's required is it's very similar to like other professional organizations, is there you are required to maintain your coaching status by
Yep.
taking updated courses and ensuring that you are staying current
Yep.
on the new materials. So things like, say, sport, the rule of two,
Yes.
and respect in sport is another one.
Yes.
It's an outside agency, but it is one that is becoming accepted and has been recorded by the Coaching Association of Canada. So
Yep.
it's say that 3 times fast. And it is a really important piece is that it's not just take the course and you're done, you're a coach, you've got the stamp on your forehead. This
Yeah.
is really about that ongoing learning process, and there's always things that are changing. Um, one of our popular programs is the fundamental movement skills workshops, and those
Yes.
are amazing because it gets us to think about the long-term athlete development pathway.
Yes.
And it's what we have to keep in mind is that community coach plays a really important role in ensuring people are able to recreate and
Yes.
not being focused on solely on a high performance pathway. Yes, there is that opportunity. But there's a time and a place, and there's a
Yep.
time when those features are, for a young athlete, they can say with their coach and their parents is to say, this is the direction I'd like to go,
Yep.
and that might be something. But there's also the other pieces, making sure that, we're not losing late bloomers. And we've seen so many times where we have athletes that have been discouraged because they were a late bloomer. And
Yeah.
so it's, keeping together and keeping the age group appropriate for or sorry, keeping the coaching appropriate for that
Yeah.
age group is such an important piece. Yeah.
It is. It is. And it's something that I say a lot too. Obviously both my kids have been competitive at different levels. Dante's, still playing in Muskoka, but they're playing the I model soccer, which is, a provincial program. So they're
Yep.
playing against teams in the States. And Juliet's playing in Vaughan for their I model girls team at her age.
Right.
And it's something I say to all the parents because not every parent has coached,
That's
right? And so I'll say, listen, some of these girls are going to be phenomenal in 2 years,
Yeah.
but we don't see it yet. And the
Yeah.
ones who are the hardest workers, the most coachable, have the best attitudes, have the good habits,
Yes.
they're going to be in 2 or 3 years, they're going to be the best players
Yeah.
because they have a vision, but we can't focus on every individual game, every individual practice, other than did they put a good effort in? And
That's
that's
right.
what I always say to my daughter. I'm always like, as long as you work hard and I know your effort levels, which she does, that's her one thing. I said, you're gonna have bad games, you're gonna have good games. There's gonna be
Yes.
stuff you don't know. There's gonna be stuff you're gonna learn in 2 years because it's gonna click. I
Yeah.
said, right now it's all about good coaching, good effort, good practice. And I
Yeah.
remind all the parents that sometimes,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
Because
Yeah.
we have some amazing parents, but then we have some parents that are really about the wins and losses.
Yeah.
And it's in every team.
Yeah.
And you have to
And,
say,
and,
listen,
you raise a really good point there is, one of the things that I've been really pushing since 2004 is this thing called a program from the Canadian Center of Ethics in Sport
yeah,
called True Sport. And
yes,
actually, Huntsville High School was one of the first high schools to adopt the True Sport movement. And one of the things that we're really working on is you know, it's it's about building character. It's
yes,
about getting athletes to realize that, it's one year, like for example, a 10-year-old might be not even starting into their growth period. And then that
yeah,
10-year-old that's like 2 feet taller
yeah,
uh, and has the coordination and has got some muscle development happening
yes,
is like light years ahead of everybody else on the field or on the rink.
yes,
But give it a couple years, and that kid who has that work ethic and is feeling good and
yeah,
um, will catch up. And so sometimes we get this little bit of surpassing that person that was
yes,
an early bloomer, and so then we have to be careful of not losing that athlete as well because they get
yes,
discouraged because others are now passing them
yes.
in
It
their
has to be
ability.
balanced.
Yeah, and so as coaches, we have to come in with that lens of realizing of where is that athlete in their development cycle.
Yeah,
And so we want to ensure and especially on the high performance pathway. At the recreational level, it's great. And I think that's the other piece is looking at the social piece. But I want to go back to that true sport. They put out some really good messages about, just what does that conversation look like in the car on the way
yeah,
home and in the car en route to the game. And
yeah,
sometimes it's better say nothing. Like what that you can feel that presence in that,
yeah,
and so it may be something that we could be either quiet, let the and that athlete sitting in the back car seat is reflecting on what happened in the game, and
yeah,
so bringing up stuff that may have not happened from their perspective as a spectator from the
yeah,
side. We have to be very careful is that we don't want to discourage, we want to encourage. And so
100%.
and so sometimes that 24 hours sitting back and letting them digest what just happened
Yes,
and let them figure it out as opposed to
true.
us telling them how it should have been, right? So I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
those
yeah.
are things that we as coaches can help with parents to understand that process, right? So
I try, you know what my thing is? I try to compliment the efforts,
yeah.
right? So hey, you know what? Great effort tonight. You hustled your butt off,
Yeah.
whatever, whether it's a win or a loss.
Yeah.
That's kind of especially, but my kids have been really good at working hard out there, whether the
Mhm.
results came or the goals came or whatever it is. I'm like, you're working hard and I recognize your effort. And then let the other stuff kind of come later, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think that that's something all parents can do,
Yeah.
is hey, recognize something really good and really positive to compliment on,
Yeah.
and to point out right away to give
Yeah.
that kind of, oh, there's a good feeling, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Then
Exactly.
then the kid can point out things they could have done better.
Yeah.
The kid can point out things they wish would have gone better. That's fine.
That's fine. Absolutely. As
Right?
long as they're making as they're debriefing and
Yeah.
coming
I
up with
let
their
them talk,
ideas.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I always say you can always point out something positive they did. Be
Yeah.
like, hey man, really great job on that play. Or wow,
Yeah.
man, you 100% all game, you were hustling, you were doing like, great pressure, whatever it is, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and then everything else comes. I mean, not that I'm the perfect coach, but that's something I've actually learned from experience of not doing it right and when the kids were younger
Yeah.
and now, as they got older, I learned, what? Let's just praise the positive. Let's take in, let
Yeah.
them decide the rest, right? So,
Yeah. And I think as a good coach, you'd go back and you'd say to yourself as a coach is like, how can I move the needle so that they are getting closer to their goals? And I'm
yes.
not talking about the actual wins and losses. I'm talking more
Yes.
about, that skill development is like what was missing in that skill.
Yes.
Um, it's always I use soccer as an analogy as well, is that you're doing a throw in and you got the ball going off your the receiver because they're
Yes.
facing the wrong direction.
Yes.
And so it's that those pieces where, okay, so we need to work on that. As a coach, I go
Yeah.
back, okay, so we need to work on how do we receive, and what does that strategy look like,
Yes.
and how to implement that into a game like situation. So
Yes.
yeah, it's always coaching is always a learning process. You're never given the same type of athlete from year to year. You're always having to, evolve and learn
Yeah.
how to support that athlete in the best way you can.
100%. And because not only were you a teacher, you were a coach of different sports.
Yep.
You taught all kinds of different personalities. So, that's the hardest thing, I think, is learning how to adapt your own self to what all the different personalities are, right?
Yes.
Because you have to
Yes.
adapt your style and your personality and your way you react. Because some kids need maybe a little tougher love in a sense. Other kids need way more reinforcement. Other
Yes.
kids just need to be left alone for 10 minutes and they'll figure it out. Right.
Yeah.
Like, so, it's learning that is all a part about growing as a coach, right?
That's
So,
right. That's right. And it's as we come up to National Coaches Week. Uh,
yes, perfect segue.
Yeah, like it is what's really neat about that is, and maybe just before we jump into that, is that in Canada, coaching is the largest volunteer segment in Canada, and,
That's
and we
cool.
have approximately just over 2 million coaches, current registered coaches
Yeah.
in Canada that are supporting amateur sport, and that's amazing. And these are people that are giving their own time,
Yep.
and they're so in many cases it's their own funds to be able to go and do coaching courses and
Yep.
stuff like that. And it's really important to recognize that a lot of the amazing things that happen in our community are because of these volunteers, that
Yes.
they're coming forward and they're giving their, like I said earlier, they're giving their time and their money and everything else to ensure that there's an opportunity available. And it can be overlooked.
Yep.
Sometimes it's just assumed that, oh, okay, there will be a coach, and as being a uh, coach, developer, and technical director, sometimes it has been a difficult time to
Yes.
find those
It's true.
coaches that
It's
want
true.
to come forward after a long day of work. And it's like, you know what? I got to go out and do a practice tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I really I need that sleep,
Yes.
or whatever. And so, yeah, it's a commitment. And on behalf of the Coaching Association in Canada, we really, really appreciate the volunteers in our communities that make communities strong. And if we didn't have these volunteers, it goes back to what I said at the beginning. It was healthy communities.
Yes.
So when we have um, kids with a lot of time on their hands, they can get into a lot of negative direction.
True.
And we want to bring them into a positive direction, take pride in their community.
Yep.
And this is an opportunity where we have role models as coaches coming in to give them these opportunities and share the skills and the knowledge that these coaches have with giving these young athletes. And I guess the other piece too is that we always think about the Olympic stream, but I also want to give a shout out is that we also have the Paralympic and the Special Olympics.
Yes.
And so a lot of people say, well, what's the difference between Paralympics and Special Olympics? Well, you know what? Paralympics are physical disabilities, whereas the Special Olympics is the intellectual disabilities,
Yes.
emotional disabilities. And so they have their two separate. As a matter of fact, I should give another shout out is that the Special Olympic program was actually established by a Canadian. And it's world renowned, and just about every country has a Special Olympic program. Paralympics is kind of an offshoot of the Olympic movement.
Yes.
It's its own unique identity. It's part of the International Paralympic Committee programming,
Yes.
and we're very fortunate here in Huntsville that we were able to offer all three streams, the Olympic,
Yes, we are.
and Special Olympics, and we are very fortunate to have many coaches that are supporting these. And you know what you do with an Olympic stream athlete is going to be totally different than what you do with a para or even a Special
Yeah.
Olympian. So yeah, so it's we are fortunate, as I said, to have so many great volunteers in our community.
100%. 100%. And so there was Nationals Coaches Weeks coming up.
Yeah, so that's happening September 15th to the 21st.
Yes.
And we will be, the town of Huntsville is going to be doing a flag raising ceremony. And
Awesome.
I'm happy to hear that the flag raising ceremony will be taking place at the Canada Summit Center.
Nice.
And so a great location in order to thank, that the town is recognizing that the numerous volunteers that contribute to our sports programs in this community. And what a great place to do that is at the Canada Summit Center. One other unique feature that they're going to do this year is to highlight the clock tower in the colors of the Coaching Association in Canada's National Coaching Week. And so
Awesome.
we'll be joining CN Tower,
Yep.
Niagara Falls, and the Kingston Bridge, and it's so many different places across Canada that will be lit up in the evening. So we'll have two locations. We'll have the Clock Tower in
Yep.
downtown Huntsville, but we'll also have the Canada Summit Center, and that will be doing the flag raising ceremony on the 15th,
Yep.
I believe at noon hour.
Awesome.
So coaches, parents, athletes,
Everybody.
please come on out and thank a coach. And so to thank coaches, we have Instagram
Yep.
and which will be hashtag thanks coach, and the
Yep.
other one is hashtag National Coaches Week. So
Nice.
so please, coaches during the week, and you're out there coaching, take some pictures of some activity, thanks coach or whatever,
Yep.
or hashtag National Coaches Week. It's a great way to celebrate and
Yes.
and appreciate the coaches that are giving their time to our community programming.
That's awesome. Hi, everyone. Quick break in the action. Right now is where one of you should be putting your sponsorship and putting your products or your services on display to all our listeners, all our watchers, all our followers, everybody, right here, right now. So reach out and we'll hook you up. We'll get you into the next podcast and we'll spread your word for you. Take
Great
care.
programming.
Ciao for now. That's awesome. I love it. And you can do that in any community, no matter where you are,
No matter where you are. Yeah,
because
that's right. And
it's the national one.
it
So
is the National Coaches Week. And as well, I should also mention that during this week, typically those coaches, as I said earlier, that there's usually a cost involved in taking coaching courses. And in some cases, some sports organizations will actually provide some funds for coaching development for
yes.
coaches. And I just want to bring to people's attention that September the 15th, there is a free e-learning
Okay.
module. It is called the NCCP Coaching Initiation in Sport.
Nice.
And so that's very first level. So if you have never coached before, that is a course that I would highly recommend. It's an e-learning module. The next one is September the 16th,
Okay.
the NCCP. So again, the National Coaching Certification Program,
Yes.
creating a positive sportive environment. On September the 17th, we're going to introduce another program. It's called the NCCP Sport Nutrition.
Okay.
And then the final activity for our e-learning module that will be offered free for that week is the NCCP Coaching Athletes with a Disability.
Oh,
And
okay.
so there are four different modules, and it's going to be again, it's there for anybody who wishes to learn more about coaching. For those who've never coached before or just starting on that coaching pathway, there is the www.coach.ca. There
Yes.
is a program, there is a database that you can access. It's called the Locker, and that
Yeah.
is found up on the
Yeah.
right-hand side. And I'm sure, Chris, you've done lots of activities through that. And you
I
go in
have.
there and you can then register and get a NCCP number.
Yep.
And that NCCP number stays with you. So please hold on to that number. It's kind of like your social insurance number. It's something
Yes.
that's specific to you. And what you'll want to make sure of is that you are using a unique email address. That's a
Yep.
key field that will align with your NCCP number.
Yep.
So yeah, so once you've got that number, you can take any of these courses, and as I said, they're for free,
Yep.
and we wish to get more coaches involved.
100%, 100%. And you know what? If you're thinking about coaching, I mean, if you're an existing coach, you want to refresh because it's been a
Yeah,
while, just head over to the locker. I every 2 years I had to do it. I stopped coaching at the end of last year, 2024, but I had been coaching for 17 years at that point. So
yep,
it was
yep,
time for a break.
yep, yep, yep,
Um, and but it's a lot of fun. I'm gonna tell you just from my own experience. I loved coaching. I really enjoyed it. I mean, yes, I did it out of necessity a bit because coaches were needed for both of my daughter and son's age groups at the time.
yep,
And I think there was a span of 3 years where I was helping coach both their teams,
yep,
year over year, as well as being on the board of the clubs up here, as John, as you know.
yep,
And so, but I loved it. Coaching was like just being at the field, seeing the kids laugh, setting up stuff. Yeah, there were some frustrations because you're dealing with, you know, kids that are growing and there's hormones and they all think they know more than you, as you know, we know, right?
yep,
Um, but the overall experience was a lot of fun. And then knowing that some of the kids that I coach are still playing the sports, are still involved with other teams, are still, going strong. I mean, one of my boys that I've, he's been on Dante's team forever. He still gives me a hug every time he sees me. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So,
yeah,
and they're like 18, 17 now, right? So,
yeah, yeah.
you know,
Well, and and it's going back to
it's
that
so
true
fun.
sport movement stuff is like there's seven principles to it is like go for it, stay
Yes.
healthy.
Yes.
And one of the things that I really like is the give back.
Yeah.
And if I could just talk a little bit about that give back piece there.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that happened back in the, I'm going to say mid 2000 was that the government at the time in Ontario, not across Canada, but the government at the time in Ontario did a really neat thing. And it really opened the opportunities of requiring to volunteer time in the community. And it was a requirement for graduation for high school.
Yes.
And one of the things that we were looking at was, you know what? We have 40 hours of community service that is required. And what a great opportunity is these role models. They are so keen, they're energetic, they're
Yeah.
like camp counselors, right? Like they are
Yes.
wanting to be with working with other youth. And so at 14 years of age is when we can start introducing coaches
Yep.
and into that whole coaching pathway. And one of the neat things about it is that for clubs that to invest in that young age group to work with your Timbit program
Yep.
and helping out with you know your bunny rabbits or whatever, what it
Yes.
does is it introduces them to it and it starts to get their community service hours
Yep.
completed. So that give back piece is such an important piece. And one of the neat things now, after coaching so many years, like you said earlier, Chris, is seeing the kids still playing in the sport, but
Yep.
not only that, they're also giving back to the
They're also
sport, and
coaching.
they're now coaching or they're now officiating. It's
Yes.
just is that in itself, you've done your job as a
100%.
yeah, and
100%.
so it all fits into that true sport piece there. The other thing was respecting of officials. The other principle is respect which is a big key point, is respect other coaches, respect your
Yep.
opponent, respect officials on the field and stuff like that.
Yes.
And then, there's, um, you know, um, that's such an important piece in keeping our athletes and sports programs going
Yep.
is that whole respect piece. And so
Yes.
there is another whole other unit on the Coaching Association of Canada website that deals with respect in sport. And
Yes.
so yeah, so definitely take these courses and learn as much as you can. And thank you, coaches, again for all your efforts in volunteering and providing a great community here.
And all my former kids, if you want to put a picture of me and say hashtag thanks, coach, I'll accept it. And all of John's former coach people, I think you coached my brother for sure.
Yeah.
All John's former athletes, you guys need to put pictures of Coach John, of Mr. Cowan, of whatever, and put the hashtag thanks, coach, when the 15th arrives. Okay, guys, don't forget.
Awesome.
So on
Awesome.
that note, we'll call it a show. What
Yeah,
do you think? Are we good? Is there anything else
we
you
are
wanted to
good.
mention?
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. So thank you, John. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Chris.
Uh,
Have me on for your show.
and thanks everyone for listening. You know where to do and share with your friends. Share this information, especially this show where there's so much good information about coaching and what's coming up. Share with everybody. And don't forget to follow, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And thanks everyone, and ciao for now.
Ciao.